Guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new here. My name is Esther. Long time no sit down video. So today's video is story time, as you can tell by the title. Today's video I'm going to gist you guys about the best story of my second baby, which was an elective C-section. So let me start from when or how we concluded that I will have a C-section. During one of my antenatal appointments, the discussion had come up as to whether I wanted to try a VBAC, which is vaginal birth after C-section, or whether I just wanted to go for another C-section. So I remember just opting for a C-section. I didn't really need to think about it because with my first pregnancy, I really wanted to have a vaginal birth, but we ended up having an emergency C-section. Then I went for my growth and well-being scan at around, I think it was at 20 weeks. I remember them saying that the baby was so big, that the baby was measuring way bigger than the gestational age, that the baby was measuring above the growth charts, whatever. Basically, they made me believe that the baby was so big. And if you saw any of my pregnancy pictures or videos, you know that my belly was really huge. Okay. It was big. I had a lot of people asking if I was having twins, but nope, it was just one baby. Right. So each time I went for my scan or any appointment, I would always ask them to check if the amniotic fluid was too much or anything. But no, they kept saying, oh, the baby is big, and stuff like that. But I kept wondering, how big is the baby that my tummy was just so big? You guys, my tummy was really big. It was bigger than me. And then I went for another antenatal appointment, I think around 28 weeks or so, I'm not sure. So when I went for the appointment, they had checked me, checked the baby and all of that, and they said the baby was in a very weird position. So the baby was lying across, and the way the baby was positioned, the umbilical cord was like facing downwards. So if I was to go into labor any moment from then, it would be the umbilical cord that would come out first. So I was advised to come straight to the hospital if I notice any sign of labor, no matter how little, because with the baby's position at that point, it's not one that I can have through vaginal delivery. So apart from the fact that I had opted for C-section, there was now a need for C-section, going by the baby's position at that time. Although by my last appointment before the C-section, the baby was now head down. So they fixed a date for the C-section, and that's one thing about an elective C-section. You just have an idea or even know the exact date that your baby will be born, except of course you go into labor before that day. So fast forward to the C-section day, my husband and I, we got ready, we prayed, and we went to the hospital. We were asked to come to the hospital as early as 6 a.m. in the morning. We got to the hospital right on time, and we met with one of the nurses. She introduced herself. She said she was going to do the whole admission process, which she did. She gave me the ID band, did all the paperwork. She shaved me, gave me the hospital gown, the compression socks, basically all the pre-surgery process that needs to be done. After that, we then moved to the waiting area, I think. So while at the waiting area, the surgical team came and introduced themselves. The chief surgeon, the anesthesiologist, the midwife, the nurse, basically everybody that is going to be in the operating room with you during the process. So from the waiting area, we went straight to the operating room. So when we got into the operating room, the anesthesiologist came to do her thing. She explained everything to me. She talked me through the whole process of what she was going to do and what to expect. So I was made to sit at the very edge of the operating table, and while sitting there, I was asked to kind of bend over like this and hunch my back. They actually gave me a pillow to hold, so you hold the pillow and you bend your back like this so that they can locate the exact point where they want to give you the spinal anesthesia. They also gave me like a stool to rest my legs so that my legs are not just hanging. They gave me the spinal, and at first I felt a little pinch, like a prick. followed by this warm feeling down my legs. It just feels like someone poured a warm fluid or warm liquid down your legs from the inside. That's how I felt. Immediately after that warm feeling, you start feeling like your legs are, I don't even know how to explain it. You start feeling like your legs are sleeping, like your legs don't even belong to you anymore. And this was exactly how they explained it to me. So because all these feelings happen almost immediately after they give you the spinal, they had also told me that they would assist me to lay on the operating table. So two people helped me to like swing my leg over to the other side, and then they made me lay flat on the operating table. This is how you lay. You lay like this, looking up to your father in heaven. So while on the operating table, they took I think it was an ice block. Yeah, I think they wrapped it in a cloth, and then they start placing it on different parts of your body to check for sensation. So the spinal made me numb from right under my bust down my legs. So she was placing the ice. She would place it, under your armpits, your shoulder. They just want to know the areas where you are numb and the areas that you can still feel some kind of sensation. So they do this right before they start operating on you, and they did it at least I think once or twice during the process. Because if at any point in time you start feeling pain where you're not supposed to feel pain, according to them, they will have to send you to sleep and continue the process. So they put on some music. It was really a chilled atmosphere. They put on some background music, and I just really love the fact that before they start anything, they kind of talk you through and tell you what to expect. So the surgeon was a Nigerian, and not just a Nigerian, he was from the eastern part of Nigeria, which is where I'm from as well. So I remember him saying Nekedia Hagahu, which is what's that your name again? So I told him my name, and he was telling me that right now he's removing the old scar tissue from the previous C-section. I was like, okay, okay. Before they started the process, the surgeon had told them to increase the dosage of the pitocin, because in his words, this is a very pendulous abdomen, which basically means that my tummy was huge. So they started the process, and when they started, all I could feel was the tugging, the pushing, the pressing, the jiggling and whatnot. And obviously I couldn't see what they were doing, because there was this blue curtain that is usually right in front of you. It wouldn't allow you to see what they're doing there. I don't think I even want to see what they're doing there. So I was just laying there, cold and shaking and shivering. I guess that's one of the effects of the spinal, and also because it's really cold in there. So if you watched any of my previous pregnancy videos, you will know that we didn't find out the baby's gender till the delivery day. So we were all eager to know what the gender would be, whether it's a boy or a girl. So a few minutes into the surgery, the baby was out, and guess what, guys? He was in breech position. Yes, surprisingly, like I was so surprised, because he was head down 2 days before the surgery. Even though I was going for a C-section, it didn't really bother me whether the head was down or the bottom was down or anything. But I was really surprised. Anyway, so immediately they bring out the baby, they kind of put the curtain down and show you the baby to just have a glance and check whether it's a boy or a girl, even if you already knew the baby's gender. So after they show you the baby, they take him over to the other side to start cleaning up the baby. So while they are cleaning up the baby, checking the height, the weight and everything, they deliver the placenta, and then they start stitching you up. So I remember the the surgeon asking us if we had any specific plans for the placenta. I was like, nope. He even said that we could cook it and eat it. I was like, you and who? So I remember they also called my husband to cut the umbilical cord. So after they clean up the baby, they bring back the baby to you to kind of hold the baby and cuddle a little bit, and then you can take pictures. So after they closed me up and stitched me up, the surgeon came over to tell me that he drained 2 liters of amniotic fluid from my belly. A whole 2 liters of amniotic fluid. Wow. Wow, just wow. So you mean to tell me that all this while I've been carrying a whole 2 liters of fluid in my belly alongside 3.75 kilos baby, because he actually weighed 3.75 at birth. I was not really happy about this, because all this while when I would go for appointments, I would tell them to please check the fluid. Is it normal? Is it okay? And they would say, oh, it's nothing to worry about, it's okay, the baby is just big, blah 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 blah. My instincts were right after all, because at the end of the day the fluid was much. Imagine carrying 2 liters of amniotic fluid. And I kind of felt it, because it was so hard for me to sleep at night. Sometimes when I want to change sleeping position, you know how when you are laying on one side and you want to switch over to the other side, before I even turn myself to change position, my belly would get to the position before me. That's how bad it was. And even sometimes when I'm walking, or when I'm just doing stuff around the house, you know how it is when you put water inside a nylon or a cellophane bag. That's exactly how I would always feel my tummy jiggling when I'm walking. So at the end of the day, there was excess fluid in my tummy. There was too much amniotic fluid, and somehow they couldn't pick that up, or they overlooked it. I don't even know. So it just got me thinking, what if it was something else? And that could be the reason why the baby went from head down to breech position in 3 days. Because from what I know, when the amniotic fluid is too much in there, the baby is just basically swimming, changing position. Today the baby is head down, tomorrow the baby is bottom up, next tomorrow the baby is lying across, and all of that. We thank God that at the end of the day the baby came out healthy and alive, and mommy is also healthy and alive today. So yeah, after they stitched me up and got me all nice and clean, they now transferred me to another bed, which is the bed that goes to the ward. And from the operating room we moved to the recovery room while still holding the baby. So they just allow you to hold the baby and start some skin to skin contacts, even start breastfeeding if it's possible for you. And luckily for me, I started breastfeeding immediately. So while at the recovery area, I can't remember how long we spent at the recovery area, but basically at the recovery area they monitor you, check your blood pressure and all of that. They also monitor the baby, check the baby's oxygen levels and all of that. And while at the recovery area as well, they asked me if I wanted something to eat or drink, and I remember just asking for very chilled water because I was so thirsty. So they offered me some orange juice and some water, and I was told to just take little sips. I think they also gave me some cheese and crackers, yeah, which is actually surprising, because I've heard a lot of people say they were not allowed to eat or drink anything right after their C-section until several hours later. But in my case, I was allowed to eat just few minutes after the C-section. Even when I moved to the ward, the surgeon had come later that day to check on me. So I remember asking him if I could eat or drink now, and in his words, he was like, yes, now I begono, which means that the battle is over. He was like, my dear, you can eat or drink anything that you desire. And trust me, I ate the hospital lunch that day, and later that day as well, my sister-in-law brought some correct yam pepper soup for me. God bless her. So I just started eating my normal diet from that day. I started breastfeeding fine. And yeah, guys, that's my birth story. That's how I became a mom of two boys. Planned C-section, very straightforward compared to emergency C-section, which was very chaotic and traumatic as well, because I didn't see that coming. I wasn't prepared, and I definitely didn't know what to expect. But this time around, I was more prepared. I had an idea of what to expect in terms of the process, and even in terms of recovery tips. I think I should actually do a video on my C-section recovery tips, because I understand there are a lot of mommies out there who are going to have a C-section, or maybe they just had an emergency C-section like me the first time, and they have no idea what to do to help with their recovery process. It was quite an experience for me, and I'm glad that I got to try having a vaginal delivery, even though it didn't work out, because we ended up having an emergency C-section. So this second time around, I just didn't want to wait around and go through that whole stress of waiting to go into labor is not coming, you get induced and still end up in emergency C-section again, because that's basically what happened with my first baby. I've done a video on that. So that's it for today's video. If you have any questions, please drop it in the comment section, and if you had a C-section, let me know what the process was like for you. How are you recovering? I hope you are doing fine. I hope you are recovering very well. Just take it one step at a time, okay? Thank you guys for watching today's video. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye.